Spirit Lines is a project that partners between the Manitoba Museum, University College of the North, Garden Hill Education Authority, and Frontier School Division. And the goal of the project is to develop kits for educational purposes, either in the classroom or for extending teacher training purposes. So the project itself, the foundation is really artifact replicas and oral history re-recordings that stem from collections material. It's from assessing the collection and what the museum has to offer as resources in classrooms, and then building those up into books, replicas, and things that can be easily brought into classrooms as opposed to the classrooms being brought to the museum.
Well, I grew up in Norway House. Lived here most of my life, and from what I know about the people in Norway House, I've always known them to be very caring, and there's a long history of the fur trade post that was here. We've also have a long history of families that have lived here for many years or have settled in Norway House. Some of them have come from York Factory after the fur trade was done.
So for the Garden Hill kits, we have 4 stone sculptures that were carved by Sidney Barkman, and those relate specifically to the fact that the museum has holdings of Garden Hill sculptures, and also to the photo books that we had published for the kits. There's also, in Garden Hill, Lucy Knott also made some moccasins for us to have, again, just physical manipulatives for the kids to look at, touch, feel, see the production, because there's only so much you can do when something's behind glass at the museum. But if you can get up close, you can bend the moccasin to see how the stitching is, or if you can see how things have been cut. The keyboards with the syllabics on them, that was something that we saw very early on in our trips to Garden Hill, that was certainly something people were interested in and keen to implement beyond just photocopies of a keyboard layout beside the actual keyboard, and then having to sort of associate that syllabic with this key, so that just helped speed things up and brought it really into the 21st century with the Unicode formatting. And then in Norway House, we had watch pockets developed by Rosa Scribe, and so those reflect the significant collection that we have from Norway House, in particular the McTavish collection that we've used and highlighted in the photo books.
To me, I see the importance of keeping the history alive, keeping the culture alive. I think it's very important for young people to know where they come from, who they are, their family histories. It's important as well that they know what Norway House is, how Norway House developed, or where the fur trade, and then even before that, there's been activity. Our people have always lived around in this area. So I think that's important for our students to know.
Definitely a document or a kit that is cross-curricular. So in social studies and in ELA, a lot of times they can commingle. So for ELA, it has stories, which is an important part of ELA. And it has stories about people from Norway House, and my students are from Norway House. So just having the ability to see and recognize names that they know, maybe relatives that they know, it amps up their engagement in the classroom.
And that's the part about the project that I like, is that there was the language, the Cree language itself that was there as well. And that's the part that when resources are developed, that usually it's not, that part is usually been left out or missed. So I think that was a great thing that this project did, is that it had our Cree language in the translations.
I think the kids were all engaged. They were taking turns weaving that thing with the snowshoe. I think all of them were following along when that guy was reading the script. Even if they couldn't read it, And even if they didn't know the syllabics, they're following along and sort of making sense of it.
I certainly think this project is very much a partnership. I mean, the museum itself, has the collection. It has very specific knowledge and abilities, but without the partnering with the communities, with the elders and with the linguists and all of those people, it wouldn't have come to nearly what it is. So certainly, it may say the Manitoba Museum on the kits, but it really is a full partnership.